and welcome to a new series on the channel. My name is Steven Jacobs, or as my YouTube fans know me as Amadorn. Today we are at Multiverse Comics and Games in Grinnell, Iowa, which is a game store that I own. And we are going to be looking at 3 different board games that we currently have available here at the store, and kind of spotlight and talk about them a little bit. The games I'm going to look at today are This War of Mine, Terraforming Mars, and Bottom of the Night. Now, This War of Mine is it's a role-playing, resource-gathering type game set in a modern-day civil war in a fictional country. It's a really good game to play. I like it. It can be pretty depressing depending on what happens in the story. There is a video game that is very much similar to this. I think the video game actually came before the board game did. But they play very similar, and I like the way that it works. Terraforming Mars is about terraforming the red planet. You're building cities and colonies and trying to create lakes and forests in a resource management game that has texts and stuff that you're trying to complete so you can do things. There are several expansions to this. I have most of them. There is Prelude. There is the Elysium, which is essentially just an extra game board that's double-sided, which is cool to use. Venus Next, and Colonies, which I just got in a little while ago. And this game is pretty good too. I like the way that it works. I like the expansions. I'm a fan of worker placement games and resource management games and 4X games, which kind of stems from some of the other things you probably see on my channel, like Civilization, Minecraft, Surviving Mars, those types of games. And our last game that we're going to be talking about today is called Bottom of the Night. Now, Bottom of the Night is a dice game. It does have a board, and it's about baseball. And one of the cool things about this is that it does have some expansions that come in these packs that kind of look like baseball card packs. And we'll take a closer look at that when we get into it. Alright, so let's start with This War of Mine. Now, it comes with a book of scripts, which is, these are all numbered. There's a lot of them in here, and this is basically the story. So don't read this book if you don't want spoilers. There's a journal book here, which is essentially the rules. And this game, when you play it, you start with the setup page, and it walks you through the setup and teaches you how to play the game as you play it. You don't have to read the rule book to begin play, which is really cool. I've never seen that in a board game before. It does have the capability to be saved, so it comes with this pad of paper so you can mark where certain resources are, and some bags so you can save your components so you know which ones you're using. There are a couple of scenarios, like there's Endless Night and then The Last Day. You have a nice double-sided board here, so you've got a couple of options on how you play. I believe one is harder than the other. So here is one side of the board. So you're in this house, you have a stockpile of your storage, going out and searching for stuff. And then here is the other side of the board, which I haven't actually played on this one yet, but I believe that this one actually is a little bit more difficult from what I understand. It looks like there's fewer rooms and stuff, so that is the game board for This War of Mine. it does have some nice components. You've got some miniatures here. Of all your characters that you can play, and if you're really good at painting, you can paint them up and use them for all your games. I will probably do that at some point because I like to do painting. You have resource tokens. So you have components, you have wood, and you have water. I'm not sure what that one is. You got some nice sturdy cardboard components here for board ups and cold. You've got colored rings that you actually put your miniatures in, so you know which character is which. This game is completely playable as a solo game, as well as up to, I believe, 4 players. There are some nice cards here that basically have things on them like locations and residents and night raids. And essentially you're trying to survive this civil war. It can get cold, people can die, people can become miserable, which are all things that can happen. And it's a really, really good game. It's really well designed, and I like it. Now, I currently have this game available here in the store for sale. It's also in our game library. So you could, if you wanted to come in and play it here in the store, you could do that. It's also available for rent here in the store, so you can come in, you can rent this copy from the store library, you can take it home and play it, and then if you decide you like it enough that you want to buy a copy, then you can use your rent fee as credit towards purchase of the final copy. And I think if you're into resource building or resource management games and story-driven games, this is definitely a game that you're gonna like. Just be prepared for sad stories, and you know, like because it happens. It does happen. I did play a series on the channel of the video game. I will put a link down below to that if you want to take a look at that. I kind of got attached to a few of the characters, and that is This War of Mine. I really enjoy this game. So I really enjoy this game. And I think a lot of people will too if they just give it a try. Next up is Terraforming Mars. Now, Terraforming Mars is again a resource management game. You are a corporation trying to terraform the red planet and make it habitable for people. Now, the game board is, again, it is the red planet. You have oxygen level, you have temperature, you've got the moons, you got Phobos here, and you can even, it's got Ganymede Colony here. These are things you can purchase to put out on the planet. You've got tiles, or cubes, to mark your resources on your tracker. Each player gets a set of cubes. You have markers here for cities and forests, greenery. There are water tiles, and then there are cubes for money, because money is fairly important. And these cubes are actually pretty nice. They're done fairly well. And then you got a whole bunch of cards that represent things that you can do on the planet. Like, you can produce grass. But in order to do that, the temperature has to be at least minus 16 or better. This one here, Arctic algae, the temperature can't be above minus 12 when you play this card. Earth's office, fuel factory. There's all kinds of cards here. Now, this is set up so you can either play as the beginner corporation, or you can play as one of the more advanced corporations when you play the game. Now, if you've played the game several times, you're definitely recommended to be using one of these corps. If you're brand new to the game, it's recommended that you use one of these. Now, this game is also playable solo. In solo mode, you're essentially trying to see how many points you can get and try to beat your score from one game to the next. One cool thing I like about this game is if you're playing in a mixed game with skilled players and with new players, the new players can play the beginner corporation, while the more advanced players play with the name corps, and it's fairly well balanced between the two, I think. Now, this game has several expansions like Prelude to Mars, which adds some more cards. Colonies, which adds in a whole bunch of moons. So you end up with basically more things to do, like you can put stuff on Pluto, or Ceres, or Enceladus. I probably mispronounced that. There's Titan, Triton, I believe Io, Miranda. Here's Luna, which is of course our moon, and Europa, and there's several. So you can put colonies on these. It essentially gives you more things that you can do on your turn. It helps, move things along. You've got some ship tokens here as well. And then you've got Venus Next, which adds in a board for the planet Venus as a sideboard, so you can build and terraform the Venus while you're working with Mars. And finally, this expansion here, which I think this was one of the first ones, it has 2 new map boards for Mars. This side is Hellas, and then this side here is for Elysium. And these just allow for different options. It's basically the same game, plays the same. It's just that some of your rewards down and milestones are a little bit different, and kind of changes it up a little bit so it doesn't feel like you're playing the same game over and over again. I really like Terraforming Mars. I'm definitely a fan of space exploration, and the idea of humans being able to go to another planet and adapt it for living. And I think this is a good game. I currently do not actually have this available for sale in the store, but it is in our game library. So you can play it here in the store, and if you like it, I can order it. And the same goes for the expansions. This one is also not available for rent. You notice I've got these in these little plastic trays. These do not actually come with the game. I purchased these individually so that I could put all my tokens in here, and it makes some really nice storage. I did something similar with Twilight Imperium 3, so everything is pretty well contained. Makes teardown and setup a lot easier. Alright, so the last game we're going to look at here is called Bottom of the Ninth. This is a baseball game, and you can see that it's fairly well compact, so you can take it with you to places. So the board is pretty small. It's just a little baseball field, so you've got fatigue and you've got outs. The rules are pretty basic. You are, and then here are the characters that are in your baseball team. I like the fact that these things look like baseball cards, and they've kind of got some information on the back. So these here basically help you determine what's going to happen during the game. Plus you've got dice. And so you'll be picking your lineup and who's playing. And one of the cool things about this game is these expansion packs that have more players in them. And it jokingly refers to a stick of gum, which is basically this, which on the back is players at bat. It's got some nice little wooden tokens in here. So these things are pretty sturdy, and these are your baseball players. And what you're trying to do with this game is kind of trying to guess what your opponent is going to put out as far as these tokens. So each player will get one of these. Now this is a two-person game. I believe you can play it as a one-person game where you're just kind of doing playing against the game itself, or you can play as a two-person game where you're essentially trying to guess what your is. So you can try to hit the ball low and inside. So one person is pitching, and they will pick which of these is either high and away, inside, low away, low inside, and then the person that's doing the batting is trying to guess the same, what the person is putting out. And then you try to go around the bases before getting outs. And there's fatigue in the game. So your batter can get tired, which can affect your scores. Now, I'm not much of a sports fan. I never really did get into it growing up. But I do like this game. It's quick. You can play it. It's quick to play. A game can be anywhere from 10 minutes to 45 minutes, so it's easy enough to play while you're waiting for something. Like if you're at a restaurant or something and you're waiting for your order to get in, you can pull this game out and play with your friends while you're waiting for your food. I do have this game available for sale in the store, as well as the expansion packs. It's a fairly cheap game too. This is only about $10 for this, and the packs are like $3.99 or something like that. I also have it in the game library here at the store if you'd like to come check it out and try it before you buy it. I really think that you'll like it. If you're into sports and baseball and stuff, this would definitely be a good game for you. If you also like board games. There are dice that kind of help determine what's going on. And it's a nice little game. It's pretty compact too. I mean, you could take this with you pretty much anywhere. So these are the three games that we're spotlighted today. We got This War of Mine, Terraforming Mars, and Bottom of the Night. All three of these games are good games. A couple of resource management games. This one has some storytelling to go along with it. This is all about space exploration and terraforming the red planet. And then you have the baseball game over here that is very compact and portable, can be taken with you to places like restaurants or bars, and just a good little game. card and dice game that I think all three of these games I think people will like. This is probably the more expensive one, with this one being the cheapest one. And then of course you have a bunch of expansions for Terraforming Mars. I believe that there is that they're going to come out with some expansions for this War of Mine. I haven't seen any more expansions for Bottom of the Ninth yet, except for these first two. But I wouldn't be surprised if more come out for that. All of these games are available in our game library here at the store, so you can come and check them out. These two I do have for sale currently on the shelf. This one here I can order it in if you're interested in, as well as any of the expansions. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you check out these games, and I hope you'll like them. I do. Until next time, my name has been Amadorn, and if you'd like to see more of these videos, please hit the like button down below, and possibly consider subscribing to my channel. Multiverse Comics and Games is located in Grinnell, Iowa. We are on the north side of the square on 5th Avenue. Come check us out. We do a lot of D&D, we do Magic the Gathering events, we have board game nights. We have a great group of regular folks that come in and play games with us, and we'd like to see you in here as well. Until next time, you guys have a good rest of your day. My name has been Amadorn, and goodbye.